Hello again. It's been a rather frustrating few weeks where I've made next to no progress on this car for a number of reasons, most of which are weather related. The next sensible thing to do now that the inside is all painted is to finish off the cavity wax injection. The car I think had some from factory because I kept finding stuff in the sills that looked like really old dried up wax, which is good, which is probably why some of it survived. Today I've made up some temporary underfloor sheet made out of a massive roll of plastic. It got ordered incorrectly at work and I've taken full advantage because nobody else wanted it, so I've borrowed it. So I've made myself some nice ground sheets. I've charged up my compressor and then brought it over here, and then this is the Dinitrol or Dinitrol corrosion protection cavity wax. This is the brown stuff. It's quite dark actually, and if in the future I buy it, I'll get the clearer coloured stuff just because it does run out of joints and things and looks a bit rubbish. But yeah, I've got what's left in the dregs of that one, and then a whole nother can here. And the idea is connect it up to the compressor, that you get the little lance with the jet with the 4 holes in, and it makes a nice spray. Like so. So it does like 4 axis, which is good. The other benefit of having this sheet down, hopefully, I'll flood the car with it, it'll all drain out, and then there's the possibility that I can decant what's collected on the sheets and put it back in a bottle, so I'm not wasting so much. So I'm just going to go round. I've removed all of the little bungs from the chassis rails so I can get into those. The front I'm not going to do with the brown stuff because I want it injected right in the front here, so I'll do that with clear and a brush later. But I'll certainly do in here where the wiring looms go through the whole of the inlet side of that plenum manifold thing. Got all the doors open because I want to shoot it inside the doors as well, and then through all of these little ports into the chassis rails, into the sills, into the bits I've repaired there, and we should have a nicely protected car. So I'm not sure I'm going to bother recording this because it's not very interesting. Actually I might, I don't know, we'll see. Done probably most of this side now. I'm just basically drowning everything until it leaks out the bottom, so you can see these sort of levels of wastage you get. But the other thing is you can see how well it comes out all the different orifices. So when I shot it into here, it was pouring out the back, which is good. I did this door forgetting that I needed to get in and out of that door, and I didn't want the door sort of hanging right open over my mat, so yeah, I probably should have done that slightly differently. In the car I've just been, as I say, filling up the door, then filling up the chassis rails all the way along, and they are totally coated, so hopefully any rust that's developed in there that I never got rid of isn't going to develop any further. I've poked it in all of these holes. And I've started on that side, but I haven't got very far yet. So now the compressor is recharged again, I can do a bit more. This really is a messy job because it literally pours out of every orifice. So even where you don't think there's an avenue like that, that's all coming out from where I've blasted the inner sill, all dribbling out of that drain hole there, which is good. Another drain hole there, so I know that I'm getting these bits right. And then all of these sort of chassis radio bits, it's pouring out of them too. I have actually run out of Dinitrol now, so I'm going to wait for Dotty's incontinence to continue, and then I'll salvage what I can. There's probably, I don't know, half a litre on the floor there. I'll get that up, and then I can use that just to finish off the that offside chassis rail, and I think everything else is done. So that's good. Right, I'm going to go and have a cup of tea. It is perishingly cold, like really cold. I'm not usually a bit of a Jessie about that. I usually just crack on, but it is cold. So I've got a few jumpers on, and I'm gonna fit up the front of the car, the lights, get the rad back in, do a final bit of rust treatment along the front, the little front grille panel, and start basically making it look nice. I'm also gonna fit the side trims up there, replace that one, and just clean out the interior again, start fitting the sound insulation pads, the rubber bungs, and think about insulation and then carpet. So lots to do. I'm not going to do that many videos, I don't think. I'm just going to get on with it. Oh, mirrors now I've got as well. Just while I've got good access, I'm going to shoot a whole load of Dynax UC clear film anti-corrosion wax in the front. This stuff, UC, stands for underbody clear, so it's actually for the underside of the car, but it's the only clear one I have. And I want all of this protected, particularly in there down the front. So I'm just gonna do that while I can, and then hopefully all of that should be nice and protected. I won't have to worry about any of it. I'm also going to do in the battery tray as well. Looks a bit shit, but I'll stop it rusting. Putting the indicators in, there should be two little grommets, one above and one below in the leading edge of the wing, and they engage with little studs that hold the light in. But on this one, I can't get the indicator in if I have both rubber grommets in, so I've left the bottom one out. That shouldn't really matter, but it's in there nicely. I haven't even bolted it up yet. You can see how tight the plastic is to the bodywork, so I might take this back out and just sand it slightly so that this doesn't bite in and damage the paint. Nothing's easy, is it? I wanted to fit the headlights, but realised that this one had a chip in it which has cracked the lens, and the only other good one I had, all of the adjusters were ruined, so I had to take apart the two and swap the best bits from each, so that I've ended up with a decent headlamp unit in the correct frame with nicely working adjusters, all copper slipped up. That one I haven't looked at yet. The lens is good, and the adjusters look like with a bit of a tickle they'll come up okay, so that's the next job. Done about as much as I can with the headlights because I didn't realise what the silvering's gone on that one. I fitted the little black centre grille thing with the captive plates and that, and now I'm turning my attention to the interior, and I'm just going with my box of rubber, filling in all of the little drain plugs that I removed last time. Then I'll give it a good wipe and go and look for the insulation pads. Bungs installed in the car. These are the trim panels that went either side of the transmission tunnel, which I had to section to get out so I could work the floor. So I've just used some panel wipe to clean them up. I can't go too heavy because in this area that foam pad is just disintegrating. So they're quite fragile as well, very brittle. So they can go back in. And then this is the special acoustic sound deadening material that I've got to go all over the cabin floor in replacement of all of the stuff that I had to chisel off. So it's sticky back stuff. I've degreased the inside of the floor. I'm going to go find an old roller, and then that can go in on top, and then these go in, and then the foam insulation, then the carpet. Just roughed out where I'm going to put them. Got two for the seats and then a stack of four which can go in the boot once that's sorted. So I'm going to go find my little rollery thing now and get those applied. I'm not too bothered about covering up the bungs. These would always have been covered from factory. These little ones would have been some covered, some left in the open, but I've wax oiled it now, so it should be good. So I don't need to cut access holes or anything. All the sound deadening pads are in. I need to roller them down a bit more. I'm a complete idiot though, because when I got in the car I looked around and found two more headlights in much better condition with working adjusters. So they were the two that I'd selected for the car and then completely forgot that I had. which is really stupid. So I could have fitted them. Never mind, I'll go and do that now. There's quite a few layers to this. So that's the replacement for the stuff I had to chisel off. That and that are those bits I was cleaning up. Then in here and on here, there's more. These bits, obviously there's 3 big ones, you only need 2 for a car, but that is a well, it's not brand new, but a much nicer replacement for that one. That is good to go again. That is one of the side pieces. I'm pretty sure I've got another one somewhere, I just need to go and dig it out. I knew I had more. So that's a pair of side bits. The cushions or pads to go under the carpet where the seatbelt anchors and seat anchors go. And then I'll pick the best 2 out of this slot to go in the car. That is an obvious candidate. It's probably the 2 I had anyway. Maybe that one or that one. I don't know. Have a look. Main pads are down. That side looks really nice. This side not so nice, but beggars can't be choosers. This is like hard to find, especially in that condition. I've no idea where I got that from. I hope it's not out of a diesel, because I'll need that for the diesel. Got some more contact adhesive, just gonna gob these on the sides there. I'm not gonna do the rest of these foams yet. I'll do that when I put the carpet in, then I can adjust them left to right and get them perfect. Looks pretty chuffing good. Surprising what difference having a face on can make. Yeah, gonna go in now because I'm freezing cold. Another day, another very cold day, but it is still dry. It's going to rain later, so I need to make hay while the sun, it's not really shining, but while it's not pissing down. I'm trying to remove these old cooling loops because it doesn't really need them. It's got an oil cooler. It's not going to be towing anymore. It's not going to be raced. It's just going to be rumbling around on the road. I've never seen a Rover V8 with this kind of installation. Basically, the drain ports on the side of the block have adapters in which go into this domestic copper pipe assembly, which did come through the front and go to what I presume is a cooler in there. Got rid of all of that, and now I'm trying to get the pipes off the actual side of the engine. I cannot get access, so I've cut myself down a 1-inch spanner, and now I'm attempting to get access. I can do the other side. This one, it's up in there and it's a right bitch, so I'm not going to be able to film it. I'm just going to battle. Once they're out, then I can have a look at going down the plumber's merchant and seeing if I can just buy a domestic radiator cap or something to plug it. It would be nice to put the drains in, but I'm not 100% confident that they haven't tapped the block, so this is the simplest, most efficient and watertight method, so that's what I'm going to do. That was not fun. And it's kind of good and kind of bad. That is the adapter that they had screwed in the block. I'd rather that stayed in, and then I could have just bought a cap for this and put it on with a socket. Now that's out, it makes me think perhaps I should try and find whatever that is and put that in the block, because it's one less thing to leak. I do have an old drain tap, and I'll go and see how that compares thread size. Problem being, there's not enough access in there to screw the tap in with a spanner, and you can't screw it with a socket because the socket won't go over the end of the lugs. I'll try and find one and show you what I mean. So this is an original drain tap thing that I've just pulled out of an engine. It's a little brass thing, and basically it's a valve. And if I can demonstrate, it's reverse thread, like conventional thread into the block, reverse thread there. The problem is these are always in really hard. It does look like it's the same thread, which is good. Bad is that the access on this side particularly is utterly appalling. And I know from experience you can't get these in and out unless the engine mount is off, the starter motor is off, everything is out of the way, and the exhaust manifold actually. So I'm not going to try and put one of these in there. I'm still going to go with plan A, which is to put that bit back in, but find a cap for that bit, which hopefully, if this is just domestic plumbing, it should be easy to do, easy to find, and then I can put this on with a socket, get right on the end of it and do it up nice and tight, and then it cannot leak. Later engines I don't think had these drain ports in them anyway. I can't really see why you need it, so yeah, I'm not going to bother. Kind of doing things as I think about them. Fitted the header tank thing expansion bottle at the back. The body shop made a rather annoying discovery. The car had these gas Spax adjustable dampers, which is a nice thing to have, but unfortunately this one has burst and was leaking all over their workshop floor, so that needs to come out, as does the one on the other side, and they're being replaced with new standard ones, which should work with the springs that are already in this car, because it never would have had self-levelers. And then I've got new, they're not bump stops, they're just rubbers top and bottom, because the originals are looking very sad indeed. In fact, that bottom one looks almost like it's completely collapsed. So new rear dampers and new rubbers going in. With them out of the way, I can do my final bit of painting in here, both sides, and touch in any areas that I think I've missed. I don't think I have missed anything. All looks really good. I'll put a gob more in there, and also do the boot floor as well. Yeah, that is a what spring is that? I think that's just a standard spring, isn't it? Yep, good. Got the bottom undone. Just been looking at the top. There's actually none of the bush poking through whatsoever. So either somebody cut it down or it's completely collapsed. The other side is the same. So I don't really know what's going on there, but we shall see in a minute. Basically, whoever put the car together didn't understand that the whole of that bush is supposed to go through and actually sit in that groove there, in that bit of steel pressing. So they haven't cut the tube down, which is good, but it will still need a bit of a, well, yeah, it wasn't right. It should have looked like that, and the metal, or that bit should have gone right through the car. They are an arse to get in because that rubber's quite stiff, but even so, poor show. I can't get those two nuts separated because they're half nuts, so I can't get another spanner in there to grip that one to unwind that one. If you just try and unwind this one, it just rotates the damper. This is despite soaking it in WD-40 and cleaning it off with a wire brush. So I'm going to have to get nasty and clamp the damper tube with the Stilsons. I might be able to do this one-handed. Let's have a look, and then bosh it off like this. Oh, fuck me. Excuse my language. It was tight. They're coming off together. Basically, the lock nuts have kind of welded together. Oh, there we go. One is off. Good job the damper's scrapped already, because that would have damaged my beautiful yellow paint. Hasn't actually crushed the tube, just marked it slightly, but yeah, I love those Stilsons, they're so good. Both dampers are out now. I was hoping to remove and retain that plastic cover to go on these, but it's too big, so it won't work anyway. So I don't know whether they're meant to have something. I don't think they are, or I haven't seen them with anything previously. In the back of the car, getting ready for paint, I've just degreased the inside of that and hoovered it out again. I've got those pads, but I don't know whether I should put them on top of the paint or beneath the paint. I'm gonna paint the boot floor first and then shove the pads in on top. I think long term that's probably the best way. In fact, what I might do, put them on and then give another coat of paint over the top. So I'm gonna go mix up the paint now. I can do the insides of the arches, both sides, boot floor, and touch in anything else that I think I've missed. And I'm not the tidiest, but already this morning I've been out here about 2 hours and I've made such a mess. It's weird. Anyway, This is my last bottle of U-pol Raptor. So I've used 70 odd quid, which is 4 bottles, and for your own interest's sake, that has been enough to do all of the bottom of the side of the car pretty much, apart from the inside of the transmission tunnel and above the rear axle, because that was all okay. It's done most of the underside of the front, the whole of the cabin floor, and with what's left in that bottle I'll have enough to do the boot floor, both rear wheel arches. So pretty much for a whole car, 70 quid, you can do it in U-pol Raptor, and that's the 4 bottle kit. So pretty good value for money really. I'm going to decant some of that in there, go find a brush, start probably with the boot floor, because I want that to go off so I can put my pads on, so I can paint more on before it goes off in the bottle. Wheel arches, a few other bits. I might also do the sills. They have been stone chipped and they look lovely because they were done in by the body shop in a spray gun, and it gives you that nice texture. But for some reason it's gone cloudy at the front and looks a bit poo, whereas the U-pol bed liner hasn't, and that's the sort of texture you get. So what I'm going to do is paint the bottom with the roller and just see what the texture looks like, and if it looks good then I'll come up and do all the way to the sides, and then we'll have properly nice black protected sills. So I shall crack on. Boot floor is done, haven't put the pads in yet. That arch is done, t'other arch is done. What I've done now is degreased the whole of the side, rubbed it down with panel wipe and then a microfiber cloth, and I've gone and got my U-pol Raptor tray with a special stipple brush. So hopefully this will leave a nice textured finish and it'll look as if I've sprayed it, even though I haven't. I could spray it, but I just don't really have the time. My spray kit is all at my dad's place and it's messy, and what I don't want to do is get overspray on the green paint. So I'm going to try rollering it and see what it looks like. I am extremely impressed with how this is going. Yes, there's already a texture on the car because it was sprayed with a texture gun when it was at the body shop, but even so, this special brush works brilliantly. You have to get the loading just right, and I think it would probably be easier almost to paint it on with a brush and then just stipple it afterwards. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do, but really I don't think I'll ever bother spraying the stuff again. I think I'll only ever use this kind of roller. Whether it's something you can only buy from U-pol or whether you can get them, get them from other places, I don't know. But this is the problem trying to do things one-handed. You just fuck it up. So I'm going to go and get some panel wipe and get that off pretty pronto. Disaster averted. Just using panel wipe. Before anything goes off, you can usually get it off with panel wipe, and panel wipe doesn't damage paint. So yeah, anyway, as I was saying, what I think I might do is brush paint the whole sill, stipple it afterwards, but quite frankly, unless I'm doing large areas, I don't think I'm ever going to bother spraying it again in the future. I'll just use the roller brush. That looks so good. It looks really, really smart indeed, actually. Very, very, very happy. Both sides. No sort of grey stripy shitty marks. What the hell is that? Run, run, run. I want to touch that in before it looks rubbish. Where is it? Can't find the fucker now. Oh well, kind of looked that bad. Well, I've just picked something off the surface. Can I see it? Can I fuck? Again, my attempts at not swearing, not overly successful. There's something else there too. Anyway, I'm being distracted. What I wanted to show you was the boot floor as well, because I've got those sound deadening pads in. I'm really not sure whether I should bother painting over the top or not, because that has like quite a shiny surface, and I don't know whether the paint's going to stick. It might just want to come off. So for the moment, I'm just going to leave it. But while I've still got paint in the can, I am going to paint up to the boot floor surround. I'm still not going to do the chassis rails because I just won't have enough paint and they'll all be hidden with carpet. But that area won't, so I'm going to paint that now with the last part of my paint. It's the next day, and trying to be optimistic about things, it is at least warmer, but it's raining, which is really annoying, so I'm not going to do that much more Dotty at all. The only thing I'm going to do is block those drain plugs off. I did go to B&Q yesterday and I bought these. Unfortunately they didn't have a matched pair, but they are domestic caps that fit that size fitting that's already in the block, so I'm gonna put those on. The great thing is I can get on the end of them with that socket, so putting them in should be a lot easier than it was to take them off, which was a complete nightmare, if I'm honest. I actually thought at one point I was going to have to take the engine mount and the starter motor off, but I didn't. So I can't find my Hylamar blue, which probably would have been better, but bearing in mind they were pretty much held in with PTFE tape, this will do much better. It's black silicone. So I'm going to go and get under the car while there's still a dry patch and fit them. Turns out I was being wildly optimistic about having a dry bit down here. I don't. I'm actually lying in a puddle now, so I'm trying to lie in plastic, but it's also just raining on me under here. I've got one in, and even though that should have been easy, it was a complete bitch because of access. It's just up in there, and I don't think you'll even be able to see it, but I've done it now. The other side should be much easier. Anyway, I'm going to call an end to this video because it's not very interesting. I'm really wet, pissed off, and also getting quite cold, so I shall see you next time. You are lucky. I'm spoiling you today. Bonus video time. I was wet and miserable, so I thought I'd continue being wet and miserable, and I've been removing the old rubber damper mounts and fitting the new ones. Easy process. Lever out the old ones, get a new one. Well, actually that's second hand, but it's the best one I've got. That is a brand new one. You can see they're pretty good. Well, that one's still pretty good. Got 3 brand new ones, and what I'm doing is feeding them through the hole and then just pulling them through with a pair of pliers. So that's what I'm going to continue to do, and then I will go and have a cup of tea, and I'll probably go work on the bubble in the garage because I just can't be bothered to get wet and cold again. See you later. I lied again. I've been, well, put all the bushes in, and I just realised why they'd collapsed as badly as they had. Whoever put the shocks in hadn't reinserted the steel tubes that go in the bushes. So there should be one in each, top and bottom, but there's only 2, which means that there was only 2 in the bottom, which is why the bottom ones survived a little bit longer. The top ones had basically disintegrated because the rod was just smashing the bush apart, and it had, when they'd done it up, they'd squished it with the washer so much, between the washers, sorry, that basically it never had a chance of working. So yeah, weird. I mean, the rest of the car was put together so well. You can even see under here, these are, you know, they've replaced all of these bushes, but for some reason they just missed out the spaces. So that's annoying, because now I'm going to have to go and find some, and I'm not sure I've got any, which means I might have to buy some tube and cut it to length. Anyway, more of that next time. See you later. Again, I definitely am going this time. Bye.